Today, nothing inspires greater pride in a man than his intellectual ability, for it is this that gives him a position of leadership in the animal world. To demonstrate superiority in this regard is exceptionally arrogant, especially when it becomes evident to others, for they will quickly seek a way to take revenge. Arthur Schopenhauer, however, did not always focus on grand metaphysical or ethical ideas about the nature of reality and the universe. In texts written later in his life, he began to offer practical advice for everyday life. Much of this advice deals with how to deal with social interactions, and his elitist character always stands out. Schopenhauer bluntly discusses the ignorant masses in contrast to the intelligent genius, and how the latter should behave in a civilized society. In a previous video, we discussed his recommendation for a strategic withdrawal from society in order to develop one's talents without being undermined by others. However, living in society is inevitable. When a person of great intellect is forced to interact in society, Schopenhauer recommends adopting a posture of apparent simplicity. He suggests quite literally pretending to be foolish. Just as the body feels comfortable at rest, the mind finds satisfaction in its perception of superiority. People often seek company to reinforce this feeling of superiority, as instinctively as they seek warmth when approaching the sun. Schopenhauer argues that this strategy is effective because intelligence, in others, provokes resentment and envy. He explains this with a psychological example. Suppose two people are talking. One of them realizes that the other person is intellectually far superior. The suspicion immediately arises that the more intelligent person sees him as inferior. After all, why wouldn't he think so, since he is clearly more brilliant? This thought generates shame and, consequently, feelings of hatred, even if subtle or unconscious. It is important to note that, in this scenario, the more intelligent person has not made any specific mistake. His only mistake was not hiding his superiority. This made the other person feel diminished, which aroused resentment. Intelligence is often a source of embarrassment because we feel we do not truly deserve it. Having it can be seen as an unfair advantage, something we did not earn on our own merits. The same logic applies to embarrassment toward someone who has inherited a large sum of money. It does not matter if this person is a good businessman or investor, or if he has worked hard to preserve and increase his inheritance rather than squander it. If he flaunts his wealth arrogantly, he will be frowned upon. The same is true of intelligence. It is often perceived as something the individual did not earn legitimately, and therefore creates discomfort. Even if someone is humble in his attitude, it is rare for others not to feel resentment toward him because he is intellectually superior. In order to progress, it is often necessary to adopt a more discreet attitude. In this context, one of the favorite texts of the Oracle of Baltasar Gracia is cited. To be well-liked, one must wear the skin of the simplest animals. This short book, by the way, is highly recommended. Schopenhauer had to learn the hard lesson of how to play hardball in a difficult and painful way. A clear example of this is in the letter he received from his own mother when he was 19 years old. In it, his mother wrote, "All your good qualities are obscured by your superintelligence and are rendered useless to the world only because of your insistence on wanting to know everything better than others, on wanting to improve and dominate what you cannot command. In doing so, you end up embarrassing the people around you." This passage reflects not only the complicated relationship between Schopenhauer and his mother, but also the way he was seen by those around him. Their relationship, in itself, is such a fascinating topic that it deserves its own video, which we will soon bring you. In the meantime, it is important to highlight how Schopenhauer's final ideas on the art of playing hardball remain relevant. He saw these strategies as essential not only to excel in political life, but also in any competition involving honor, dignity, and recognition, be it in the field of science, literature, or art. Schopenhauer identified a regrettable tendency in more intellectual societies. Mediocrity, because it is a widely accepted quality, often takes center stage, while true merit struggles desperately for recognition or, in many cases, does not even receive attention. This same dynamic repeats itself in all aspects of life, showing that the game of hardball recognition is not always fair, or based on the intrinsic value of people and their contributions. If Schopenhauer could give us advice today, it would be to not be discouraged by the injustices of the world, but to learn to navigate them with strategy and intelligence. After all, playing hard is not just a matter of survival, but of finding our place in an often unfavorable system. Want to know more about how these ideas can be applied in our daily lives? Subscribe to the channel, activate the bell so you don't miss our videos, and leave your thoughts on Schopenhauer's vision in the comments. Let's explore more about the world of philosophy together and how it can help us overcome the challenges of modern life.